I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich. Hi everyone, welcome back to another political recap stream, the first of 2026. Hello everyone, happy new year. We're going to be going through some bits and bobs from last year and this year, or stuff that's bled from last year to this year, because obviously we are also, for those who are newer, we're back on the YouTube side of things. I'm going to say this from the offset in case anyone hears us on playback. You're probably not going to like half the things Trupp says, and I don't care. Because I want people... you remember, we used to get in the past, remember? Okay, so you're not going to like half the things he says. I don't care, because I need him to say the things that you don't want to hear. So that's okay. Joining me, as you may have worked out there then, to join us, but as we return triumphantly to YouTube as well, I say that we're going to get demonetized, is Trupps. Say hello, Trupps. The drink didn't make a noise again. I know. I was so excited for it too. How was your Christmas? Did you have a nice? You have some good food at least. That's all you need then, really, isn't it? No sound on Trupps. Oh, sorry. Stop. OBS has done a fucking fail. There we go. Try again. Hi, Trupps.
Hi.
Yep. OBS did a fail. Sorry. Apparently it changed my audio settings, even though I'd literally just come off. I came off a live stream, and then 15 minutes later was live again. It reset my audio settings twice. Sorry.
Oh, lovely.
How was your Christmas, Trupps?
Fine and dandy.
Marvellous. Yeah, that's what you need. Hi, Monica. Hi, Leona. Thank you for telling us about the audio issue.
Thanks.
That was, yeah, it happens. I had an alright Christmas. It was my nephew opened my presents, so they're somewhere. They've been opened. One is actually by my feet. Two of my sisters bandied together and got me a gigantic sodium-ion power bank.
Good.
Sodium-ion power banks, for those who don't know, are brand new. They are a new creation. They were only made last year by Bluetti. They are completely new to the market. They do not exist anywhere else. They, in fact, won Innovator of the Year because of it. The only issue, the two big things about them. One, they are heavier because sodium is a heavier element, of course. I've got my freaking periodic table above my head. I could tell you how heavy it is. The other
nerd.
Indeed, the other thing is the discharge. So it's less in wattage. However, it's a good thing because it can live at much lower temperatures to lithium. Lithium discharges completely at -5. This -25. It's a massive difference.
You have to be very careful of discharge. Absolutely.
Yeah. With my power banks, I keep this room they're in at a very steady temperature because I have some ceramics to keep things moderately warm. But I do also wrap them up at night because I'm not a fucking moron. Hello, Shumbunkins and Bry over on Rumble. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Yanuka from Israel.
I guess for those who didn't hear my sounds of complaining when he says you may not like things that I say. Listen, if you're new here, I am the more biased one out of the two. I guess.
I mean, to an extent, we don't normally air my obvious bias.
I'm also like the friend who will like let's say I have a pass that Meg doesn't have. I'm the friend to say it.
Okay, so there's a guy who works at a gym I go to, and he believes I'm on the spectrum. So he's like, "Oh, you got that pass, you know that, right?" And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up!
Ah,
No, I don't. Shut up. I'm not autistic. Okay, I don't have. It's not about pass either. If anyone's seen my Twitter, you know damn well I use that word all the time. Okay, I don't.
so
I don't care.
yeah, but fun story about that actually. So I was having that discussion with a colleague of mine
Oh yeah.
who goes, "I'm pretty sure I'm autistic," and I go, "Okay, yeah, I could see it." Or no, I told him he was autistic, and he goes, "Yeah, I could see it." And I goes, "No, actually, I think I'm just OCD." I'm like, "Also fair."
I mean, I'm fairly OCD
And
to be
because
honest.
he then goes into explaining. Now, mind you, for the past month before this conversation, he had been showing me the the progression of an interior design choice he was doing for his man cave,
All right.
and I'm going, yes,
Can you
yes, you definitely are that,
you
sir.
can you smell the tism?
Oh my god. I mean, he had to match colors a certain way.
Oh,
He had
really?
to like arrange like he was very meticulous. Now, granted, former military, so there might be a sense of like
Routine
a
and
little bit of
yeah,
traumatic
uniformity. Yeah.
like hey, you've been, beaten in that,
Yeah. Yeah.
uniformity and
Yeah.
all that stuff. That's possible. However, a little different.
Yeah, true. Hello, Virgo Ono on YouTube. Hello to K Shell. Hope you're well. Hello, Shum Bunkins as well. The LARPer calling someone a nerd. There's a joke in there somewhere. There is indeed that. I will say when it comes to like, for
I
example,
resemble that remark.
my man cave, there is. I don't think you could actually say there's any uniformity here at all. It's just done the way I can be bothered. It's tidy, very clean. I'm OCD when it comes to tidiness. I am not autistic. I don't have Asperger's. I'm none of that. I'm just not comfortable with a lot of things socially. That's all. Um, but I'll happily use that word all the time in word form on Twitter because then I don't get cancelled and I don't care. Why? Because I'm Meg and I'm too old to give a shit anymore.
Old
In fact,
man.
in about 13 days, I'll be in a different decade. So don't try me. Um, anyway,
Really? Oh yeah, that's
yeah, I
right.
turn 40 in like 13 days.
Yes, yes, I forgot. You are
A bit
between
older.
9 and 10 years older than me.
Yeah, it's like, well, last chance you and I are in the same decade
I,
together, really, isn't it?
oh hell yeah!
So
I was
sad.
about to make a joke. I'm like, what do we would kiss or something about that? Like I don't know.
I mean, I'm not against it, but don't touch me. Hi again, Sean Buckets.
And
Hello, Anthony DeBart. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining us. Anyway, where should we start? 'Cause it's been a while. Where do we? I've called this stream, for those who don't know, I've called it Somaliland, Iran, America, and dot dot dot, and then all in lower cases, England. Because in truth, I wasn't entirely
um,
sure where to go today.
so I think the most pressing news that we had recently is the thing with the fraud stuff going on in
Oh
in
yes.
Minnesota.
Okay,
And the
so
reason I say that I feel like we've seen that the most is because I keep seeing it on
yeah.
every single
So
fucking
where
stream
do
I
you want to
have.
start with that? Because there's a lot. It started with one person, but there's
A
a
bit of
bit to
context, yeah.
unpack. Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Let's go then.
yeah, so I would say that the way to start this one off is that there was an effort within the last, I want to say, 4 or 5 years during all of the different migrations, where a collection of Somali migrants found their places specifically in the Minnesota area, specifically around Minneapolis, but also in some areas surrounding there. Um, since then, it has only grown. And if you watched any of the stuff going on during the presidential debates, you would have seen Tim Walz, who is the governor of Minnesota, being
The
asked about some of this, but not a whole lot.
only thing I've heard about him
Um,
recently, just as a segue, was him getting
mm,
annoyed because people were turning up to his house and they were holding up signs and hurling abuse at him. And I'm like, you're a public servant. You're gonna get a lot of stick. Grow up.
fair, honestly.
He deserves it anyway.
Um,
The loser.
true. What was particularly interesting about the whole ordeal is that it has gone on for so long now that the issues overall have kind of spiraled out of control
Yeah. Oh, they have.
and are now, well, the Somali migrants have now formed such a cultural hub in the area that they no longer have the ability to really like control that situation anymore.
Imagine my
Uh,
shock.
right, and those that group of people is now basically all but taking advantage of all the goodwill that that state had to offer.
You know when
Now,
people have talked about certain types of fatigues over the years? This is another fatigue that is going to exacerbate in this
mm,
state anyway. Won't in like New York City yet, but that will happen given time. Don't worry about it.
fair. But now that we have had that situation, we come to where the story actually is, and that was a recent YouTube video and series of TikTok shorts from a guy called Nick Shirley, independent journalist who had gone to the areas outlined in a lot of these grants to Somali owned businesses in the Minnesota area. Specifically, he started going to a bunch of the child daycare centers. Um,
Right?
and he went in trying to find out information about them, say, because all of this had been alleged to be fraudulent, meaning that they were collecting money, but they weren't actually doing the job.
Yeah.
This had been supported through like Pam Bondi and the United States, like federal government doing investigations, all that stuff. Nick Shirley goes out to go and find out if it's all true. So he goes to one of these learning centers, or as the sign said, Leering Center, um, because it did not have an N in the word learning.
Yeah.
Um, and starts calling the number, knocking on doors. Nobody answers. Eventually, people started figuring out that yes, there was somebody who was going around to all the different places. So people started to show up to try and move them along. Is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Because they really didn't like salvage the situation. They kind of just they didn't want to deal with that kind of press. So they move on to that stuff. They start getting people who are, showing up, asking questions. Otherwise, when he was on his own, he found several businesses, all of which who had grants of some over $1 million, some over tens of millions of dollars over the course of 4 or 5 years. Found that they had daycare centers with blacked out windows, like either like actual obstructions in the windows, or just straight up dark vans that had not been moved for a few months. He also had a local correspondent who was helping him do all this stuff and basically go through all of the nonsense. And yeah, there was a whole lot of BS going on with all of that.
Yeah.
And eventually we have ourselves where we are now, where this man has actually been interviewed by CNN, and they are asking about, well, his investigation and why it led him down the path that it was, and a bunch of different things regarding that situation. And here we are. There's a lot of controversy of it. There's a lot of people talking about it. Hassan weighed in, of course.
What did he have
He
to say?
said that it was, huh?
I was going to ask what he said, but you're about to answer it. Sorry.
Yeah, Hassan decided to say that it was weird for Nick Shirley to,
Oh, God.
well, go to those places.
Right. Not looking at government
because
waste.
because he was looking for kids, quote unquote. I'm like, no, not exactly.
It's good to see the point he took away from it was that, and not the part where billions has been stolen from your country, tens of millions, maybe hundreds, been stolen from your country. What he does, he's so out of touch with reality, man. Hello, Michael, by the way. Hope you're well. Happy New Year to you too. Hope you're having a good day. Yes, Shum Bunkins, we are on YouTube as well on the Omegon Live channel because I can't be asked to keep calling it Moisky Live. Yeah, my first thought when I heard about this was if people aren't clamping down quickly, cracking down. This reminded me of the Romanians in my country years ago, where they would basically work here, live in absolute squalor, but then what they were doing was sending all money they could get back to the United Kingdom. Not just work, though, it was also benefits. They did a lot of cash in hand work. And then their
Mm.
homes back in Romania looked like palaces because everything was so much cheaper. They were able to do that. To me, it was a massive. I understood the game of it, but it was just a con. Just one big fat con that cost the taxpayer, us, a lot of money. And we have it in this country
Yeah.
now where certain communities disproportionately claim state welfare and they do it because they expect to be catered to. This is a
Mhm.
scam. 100% this day. If I knew that all I had to do was set up a daycare in Minneapolis to get shitloads of money and do nothing at the same time, hell, I'll do it. And Germany
Right?
has
I
no.
was thinking the same thing. I was like,
Yeah.
honestly, this wouldn't work if you were white.
Do you remember years ago when we joked about stonks? Okay, well, can we get involved in this instead? Because I missed out on a fair few stonks. I could have made some good money on that.
So that was kind of a weird thing about the whole ordeal, honestly. The fact that we had a whole bunch of people who were collecting money for daycares,
Yeah.
but nobody was ever checking if the daycares were real.
That sounds like
Um,
the EU when they let loads of countries join. They didn't properly vet them financially. So they had to bail out Spain and Greece repeatedly, who kept on fucking up. It's that thing of you're
what the fuck
not
is
bothering
Greece
to look.
doing
It's no
nowadays?
oversight. You need to have oversight in everything you do. And Shumbunkins, Germany has a similar issue right now. Not surprised. Scammers are going to find a way to do it. It's every single time, every single place, someone will do it because they want to not do anything.
I see. Okay. Yeah. I've been kind of sitting here thinking about like where we go with the knowledge that we basically have. I think upwards of a couple $100 million that has been given away
It's too much.
to people who are not actually doing the things that like they are saying.
Well, the money there were
And
gas stations. They were going to the same cash points, weren't they?
yeah,
I'm just sorry, but
and
they're
if
clearly
you
sending that money back.
and if you go there, you'll also notice that there's a collection. Now, this is like a very small collection of the Somali community who have taken on this fraudulent role in society,
Mm-hmm.
and they are living remarkably well. I mean, luxury cars, luxury homes, all this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's got to feel bad if you're one of the normal people who has to basically suffer your minimum wage job, and certainly all these complaints that the others might say, the left, about minimum wage and government help. I don't think this is necessarily what they were expecting when they were asking for government help. I think they were thinking a little bit more, maybe, how do I put it? Selfishly. They
Yeah.
wanted help themselves, not help for other people.
Agreed.
So I bet you even they aren't so thrilled about this situation.
I love watching people's reactions to this right now because some of them have been making even like threats of the unalive variety towards the likes of like Elon Musk has been calling us out, and thank you Mel Klump for the super sticker. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. For two, in fact, you've sent. Sorry for not noticing both. I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much.
Brian made a comment here in the Rumble chat. He said, and how much of that is going um, to terrorist organizations. Actually, there has been a couple instances of that reporting where it is being funneled to terrorist
Not
organizations.
okay with that. Hello,
Yeah.
Richard Watt, by the way. Thank you for joining us over on YouTube, and Happy New Year to you too. Thank you again, everyone that's joined, all of you on, well, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, and YouTube. We're everywhere. It's great. We're a locust this year.
You guys cannot speak more openly. You know,
We can
you
on
gotta do
three.
what you gotta do.
We can on two platforms.
It's not my channel to ruin, unfortunately.
That's okay. I don't mind if it happens on Moisky Live or a Megon Live now. It's fine. I just figured, screw it. I may as well stream everywhere. Because why not?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to take advantage of the year a little bit. I think.
Yeah, definitely do, and might as well. If you get banned, you get banned, right?
Well, yeah, why not? I have seen, yeah, again, I've seen an increased number of people trying to go defense on this, but there's a remarkable amount of, like, this is quite clearly a corruption thing. I have not seen much from Tim Waltz on this. I'm baffled.
So Tim had originally tried to get out in front of it. I'm pulling up the interview because I remember he had said something very.
He's been accused of changing the flag. He changed the flag of Minnesota to resemble that of Somalia's flag. There's a video of him doing it, and the flag of Somalia looks very similar to what he's changed the flag to. I thought that was quite funny when I saw that.
Yes, according to a spokesperson for Walls, they said that that he has hired an outside firm to audit payments to high-risk programs shut down by the Housing Stabilization Services Program.
Well, Tim Waltz tried to blame Trump for this as well. Yet one of those people involved in this was indicted for fraud in 2023. Like, bitch, don't try me.
Yes, they were.
Right.
And actually, there was another one who was actually, I want to say, had a different criminal record, and he was one of the people who had gotten, I think, several million. I want to say M word at million, not tens of millions, but I think there was another guy who had been a person of interest about 3 years ago, meaning 2022, not 2023.
There's another thing as well. There is 20 weeks of paid leave program for illegal immigrants and Somalis that came into effect on January the 1st. 20 weeks of paid leave. Family leave. Who the fuck gets that many?
Just Somalis?
It says here for Somalis, illegals, and other groups that are basically not native.
I feel like I want to know more information about who's included and why.
Yeah, I
like, because if you wanted to do like a paid leave for like over the year for maternity, like okay, sure, got it.
My view is you need to deport as many people who've committed this fraud as possible. Denaturalize anyone that came here and committed this fraud as well, because why bother sticking them in prison? You can't blame Trump for this because he has nothing to do with how Minnesota runs. Actually, the buck stops at the governor's feet. It is not the president's feet. This is Tim Walz's fault, straight up.
Yeah, and what's even kind of scarier now that I think about it is so what is the recourse? So we found fraud, and what is the recourse for the government to get back that money? Is it repossess assets? Is it just going through and taking from bank accounts? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I have more information on this. It's the Minnesota paid leave program. The accusation is not directly levied at those who are illegal or Somalian. It's actually believed that people who are illegal or Somalian will designate a person who they're caring for, and then they can claim up to $1,400 a week for 20 weeks of the year.
Ah, interesting. So it is, but it isn't.
Yeah, it's indirect, but it basically is. This is all Tim Walz's fault, straight up. And trying to poison the well with the creator who exposed it speaks volumes about how little you understand this. This is a massive problem.
That makes so much more sense now.
When people are calling, that's what Asmongold had said, you need to call for the Minnesota to be defunded as a state. Just defund it. I'm not.
Well,
I understand it because you're right now. You've made a mistake, and it's going to get worse for you if you don't deal with it.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse. There's no off ramp for this kind of.
Shit. Sorry.
Like the level of fraud we're talking about here.
Yeah, agreed.
There's just too much going on to just say, okay, well,
as well. It's just too big.
It is. it is almost, I believe, more than the GDP of the country they were from. Like
It's
overall,
massively,
overall
yeah.
the
And yeah, Israel and Bedard. Yes, he is in fact Tampon Tim. I remember. I forgot about that name initially. He's a
oh, did you?
tragic case of somebody. Tampon Tim. Yeah, it's a tragic case of somebody who could have been decent at what he did if he didn't want to like act like a bitch. Is he the one that had the weird military history?
He was the one who had gone to Tiananmen Square at a weird time in history. And yes, he also had the
Stolen
weird
valor.
military history where he
Stolen
was
valor, wasn't it?
alleged to be like E9, but like actually was like E7,
As
and then
a
had gotten promotions.
yeah. Okay. Based on 40-hour work, yeah, it's 35 an hour. That's ridiculous. It's certainly more than what I earn an hour.
That's gross.
I earn 20 quid an hour when I do cleaning work. But I do like at most
Yeah.
2 hours a day, so I don't really earn that much. He lied
Well,
about
it
going
might
to
be
war.
more
It was
than.
stolen valor then,
Ugh.
Zakuza. Yeah. Yeah.
I just watched our screen go.
Yeah,
"Meow."
I accidentally my hand twitched and I dragged our
Mm.
still away. Don't know why my hand did that, but it just decided fuck you. Okay. Right, well, that's half the stream nearly gone. Where should we go next? Do we use this as an excuse to talk about
Oh man.
Somaliland?
Some yes. You're gonna have to talk more about this because I am not familiar with what Somaliland is. I thought it
Somaliland
was a joke for
is
what
an
you would call Minnesota.
independent state. Israel has decided to formally recognize this breakaway state as an independent nation, which has led to
Mhm.
condemnation from others, like Israel gives a crap. Um, this is more than 30 years after the region declared independence from Somalia. So Somaliland is like Taiwan from China. Taiwan
Mm.
is and anyone Chinese wants to disagree with me, go nuts. Tibet should be free. Hong Kong should have nothing to do with you, and Taiwan is a country, not a province. Suck your mums. Dozens of
Okay.
countries, including Turkey, Saudi Arabia, African Union, have criticized this. China added to this as well, saying that no country should encourage or support other countries' internal separatist forces for its own selfish interests. I don't think it's that at all.
Yeah.
Somalia is a hellhole and no one willingly wants to live there. Somaliland is a direct successor to that and wants nothing to do with what Somalia is. Somalia is a hellhole and deserves to be a hellhole for as long as it continues to act like it wants to be a hellhole. Seriously.
Mhm. Yeah,
Let's
that
see.
makes sense. Honestly.
Right. So this basically what Somaliland. Why does it want independence? Yeah. So it's a breakaway
I can't
semi-desert
imagine.
territory on the coast of the Gulf of Aden. It
Mhm.
declared independence after the overthrow of Somali military dictator, some bullcrap name, in 1991. This
Mhm.
followed a secessionist struggle in which that dictator forces pursued rebel guerrillas in the territory. Tens of thousands were killed, towns were leveled. Though not internationally recognized, Somaliland, which sounds like a holiday, has a working political system, government institutions, a police force, and even has its own currency. So it actually has what Somalia does not have: working
Yeah.
people.
True.
Yeah. Its history as a distinct region of Somalia dates back to 19th century under colonial rule, but it was then a British protectorate known as British Somaliland. And so it merged with Italian Somaliland in 1960 to form the Somalian Republic. Well, you know what? It's been a country for longer than frickin' Germany, so who cares? Um, well, current Germany. Um,
Mhm.
so why did Israel decide to recognize it? Israel have decided that it would be a great opportunity for expanding the country's partnership. I think it's also because Somalia is quite strongly Muslim. Somaliland is a bit more, not liberal, but comparatively better.
Okay.
Somaliland is actually like, so on the map, um, where the Indian Ocean is, Somalia is on the right. It goes up, and then you go up and then go left at the top at a peninsula. Well,
Mhm.
Somaliland is like hidden by Ethiopia basically, and is next to Djibouti. It's like right
Okay.
there. It's right. It's in a very little. It's a little nook basically. So it's not really a bad position, and Somalia can't just charge in. Ethiopia's not going to get involved,
Mm.
and Mogadishu's nowhere near freaking Hargeisa, which is I think their capital. Like it's not like that. There's even a contested like region near Puntland, which is this state for I think Somalia, which is like semi-autonomous. So it's not even like they can't just go in and shut them up because they're nowhere near each other really. So it's quite
Mhm.
amusing that Somalia would even consider Somalia as a hellhole. Like
Yes.
I want Somaliland to succeed, but I do think that um, others are reluctant to speak because of interests. Like, for example, the United Arab Emirates have a military port in Somaliland. They've not said anything.
Mm.
But it is believed that the UAE is aligned with Israel on this question of Somaliland
Okay.
because it benefits them across the entire Red Sea region.
Yeah.
And it makes
True.
sense.
I mean, honestly, I can't imagine who wouldn't be like overly thrilled about the potential for a independent state,
Hmm.
right?
I'd like to see Somaliland get everything Somalia doesn't have without having to steal things to do it.
True.
Because Somalia, what do you think when you think of them? What do you think of? You're right, pirates. Do you think of anyone working or a decent quality of life or living? No, you think of pirates and murder and rape and basically all the horrible things that exist in the world. I know nothing
Yep.
about Somaliland in this instance, and also Ethiopia aren't going to help Somalia either because Somaliland agreed to lease part of its coastline to Ethiopia.
Hmm.
So basically, Ethiopia have been nice, and so they're not going to help Somalia. So I think more countries need to get behind Somaliland for the sake of it because it's funny. Israel being the first one to do it solely because they got their. And no offense intended if you're Israeli, but if you get the Ferengi joke, you understand your earlobes were twitching, you just had to give them a jolly good rub. They saw opportunity and they went, yeah, fuck it, let's get some trade sorted. I'll recognize them and they might nice us. I honestly think that would
Mm.
be beneficial to both sides anyway, especially if it gives them access to, their ocean as well.
Yeah.
I think it's great, and I love it so much. I'm going to save that these articles I have on it because I think they tickle me to no end.
Honestly, I'm just a fan of a country who sees their country not working for them and saying, you know what, screw it. We are going to do better for ourselves by saying, we're different than all of you.
hmm
It's very clear we can't get along.
Yeah.
We're going to go over here.
So that's a very good way for me to now segue into the next subject, Iran.
Oh, yes, that's
Formerly,
true.
for those who don't know, in history, I believe Iran was called Persia.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Um,
a lot of things, but
yeah,
yeah.
well, Persia is the one that matters because
Wasn't
Persian.
Syria too?
Sorry,
Wasn't it like Syrian Empire as well?
possibly, but the Syrian culture as a whole was just beautiful. But
True.
what
The
happened? I
Assyrian
think
Empire.
wasn't it like the late 70s? Iran was taken over by some rather
Part of
extremist,
Iran
by some very
was Syrian.
sorry.
I said part of Iran was Assyrian.
Ah, well, so I think the 70s they were taken over, and Islam in its more extreme Islamist variant took over in the country, and it went from being a country with culture and people, it went to submission and hellhole. Yeah,
Mhm.
it went to that. Why are we
Yep.
rushing? We're not. It just offered me an opportunity to move from a small subject to something slightly different. Iran, ever since, for me, I only really knew about the country because of Ahmadinejad. Ahmadinejad, if you have issues pronouncing his name. He was the president of the country for a time. He became a teacher
Mhm.
afterwards. But the country, as it stood, just devolved everything into the worst possible things. It had wars with Iraq. It just
Mhm.
never really amounted to much, but it always had threats of weapons. And to be honest, I didn't really see Iran as much of anything beyond just a bunch of guys scrambling to try and maintain power and control, rather than simply do what was right by the people that gave them a voice and gave them a place in the world where they could actually be looked at as an equal, as opposed to how you look at your women,
Mhm.
inferior, which is how I consider anyone that seeks to control people in this way. I consider
Mhm.
you inferior. Simple as that. And you are inferior if you do it. Recently, there have been protests. Now, I went and looked through a bunch of UK main news sites. I found one article on it from the BBC, and it was solely Trump in the title. It does not talk about what led up to this. But the protests have been going on for about 6 days now. It's increasing, and it's getting worse.
And if I remember correctly, I believe the lead was because one of their major cities didn't have water.
There is a massive shortage of water in Iran, and it's understandable because they had one of the biggest droughts, and so you're not allowed to bathe, you're not allowed to do all these things, but you do need to drink water to live. So it's not a great time to be alive right now in Iran. But this has led to a lot of issues with the people who now believe that the Islamist regime is no longer feasible or viable for the country. This then led.
Thank fuck for that.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. And thank you, Yanuka, for the bit over on Kick. I appreciate that. Mainstream media covering Iran. Yeah, one article. That's it, and it doesn't even tell us the full context of what happened. I had to rely on Nioh Berg, Nioh Berg, on Twitter, because she posted videos. I can't post them here because YouTube will flag them. Because they're showing people pulling down Islamic regime flags, people getting into fights, scuffles, pushbacks, blowbacks. It's getting quite heated. And I think it's great because it needs to. It does. There's been much in the way of call for Iran to restore its monarchy, to not have the current regime it has, because I believe it does have a rightful ruler. Not like it's a really bit of a reach for me to say it, but there's like this almost like an Aragorn aspect to it. But the guy, I think, if memory serves, is a politician. So
so there's a president, and he's more of a figurehead. If we're going to go down the Lord of the Rings thing, it's the steward of Gondor in a sense.
There is a guy I think is a rightful ruler of the country, if memory serves. There is somebody who's
president.
Supposed to...
there's a royal. Yes.
Yeah, a royal. That's what I mean. Yeah. So there is somebody there that people are advocating should rule that country instead. And his ideas are, comparative to this, vastly more liberal. Problem is, even if he did, based on his age, you're not getting much out of him. No offense intended here. And also, it would only be 10, 15 years before someone else decided, next generation goes, oh, fuck it, let's just put the women back under slave control again. Oh, I need to let the dog out, don't I? Sorry, you have to talk without me for a minute. Sorry.
Okay. So to address the Shimbumpkins, real quick, it's not necessarily that we're rushing this stuff in particular. It's more like there are definitely a bunch of different things that we're trying to get like a handle on in the new year, and we're trying to be a little bit better than the waffling on about random topics that we used to do. And there's just a lot of stuff that we kind of want to talk about, and we have so little time to actually do it. So I appreciate the understanding. But otherwise, see, the Iran thing in particular is something I quite am interested in, and the only reason why I would say so is because I want to see Iran actually. Well, I want to see most of the Middle East return to, I want to say, like a 70s version of itself. I was telling Meg, I think about 2 or so weeks ago, about there used to be there was an interview with the president of Egypt long before the revolution in Egypt, where he was sitting in an interview, and the interviewer asked the guy, what do you think about mandating hijabs or burqas? And he says, you want me to tell my wife what she has to wear when she goes out? The entire audience laughs because at that time they had thought it to be completely hilarious and almost unthinkable. Fast forward, now that we have all of these traditional religious fundamentalists in power in a lot of the Middle East, we have a massive a problem where we used to actually have much more availability for a common culture across the world, somewhere, some way, partially due to America's influence. We decided we didn't want that anymore, I guess, and we will reap the consequences of doing so. But otherwise, I think how long you guys have? We usually stop around like 5:30 or so. That's why. But we usually go for like an hour 45 ish. 5:45. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. It's usually because I have things that I need to go and do,
I
and
have returned.
obviously
Sorry.
Meg and I are 5 hours
Ooh,
off.
to drop out those not great.
Ooh,
Continue.
is it cold?
Uh,
Yes, I've heard actually your region for the past like 3 weeks has been basically cold and raining.
uh, yes. It's -1 only at the moment though.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so it's still t-shirt and hoodie weather, but yeah.
I was just talking about how the Iranian thing is something that I particularly care
I do
more about,
too.
just because of the what Egypt and those that region used to be.
Yeah. Well.
And we talk about it a lot in particular, but
Mhm.
we do really actually quite like Arabic culture. It's just a shame that a lot of current Arabic culture has been co-opted by
Yeah.
fundamentalists
So
who want to ruin their
yeah,
country.
Egypt has been pushing out the extremist Islamist stuff as well. Um, most of the UAE don't abide the extremist stuff at all, because they want more people from the West involved in their culture anyway. But there is a certain separation. You have to adhere to their societal norms. That's
Mhm,
fine.
mhm.
Iran, for as long as I've been alive, has always been hell. No offense intended, but your people are upset and in pain right now, and your only way to silence them is with the end of a gun. That isn't. That
Mhm.
is not a society. That is horrific. Um, and Bri, that's cool. I actually think Persia is a much nicer name than Iran. It really is. Iran sounds like a war
Isn't
zone.
it?
It's what you associate. Persia just sounds like Xerxes or territory. Hi Starlet, by the way.
It
Hope
sounds
you're
like
well.
gold, right? It sounds
It
like
does.
gold and wealth and
Yeah. It just sounds like
like
culture.
well, I imagine like the architecture, right? I imagine the beauty of like what like I hate to use like romanticized versions of like the images of the desert,
Yeah.
right? But they're like the beautiful Arabic women and like the wealth that they have accumulated over time, and
Yeah.
the innovations of the golden age of Islam in Iraq and places like that. So
Then the
much
then
that
the extremists
was
came in
just
and
lost.
decided to fuck it all up.
Yeah.
And that's not nice. No, it isn't. I I I want them to be free because I want them to have a chance to be better. The only way they're ever going to be better is when those with the tunnel vision to think that by control they are better, those people are deposed. And even if this royal became a symbolic king like the UK one, as Yunuka has put it, that'd be a good thing for the country to have that figurehead because they can be the
Hmm.
ambassador. And if Iran went through an El Salvador styled change, that'd be huge. Look at El
Hmm.
Salvador now; it's doing fantastic. And the same would apply to other
True.
countries. And the Middle East, there are countries there right now, as I've said, that are getting rid of the extremist Islamist crap because it's the extremist stuff that's hurting them. And
Hmm.
I think if they got rid of it, if they push it out of their country has a chance. But there's always it's the same thing. Like so, I'm going to introduce Ukraine into this for a second, not because of a change in culture,
Yeah.
but because there are people in Ukraine when it became a country. A generation later, they were like they were the younger guys, especially were like, oh, we just want to be Russia,
Uh-huh.
forgetting what it means to be Ukrainian and what it meant for the people to fight for them. After World War II, there were people a generation later, some were trying to act like it should be okay to be a Nazi again. Like, no, don't do this shit. Okay, don't shoot yourself in the back. And luckily, we dealt with that here quick enough because fucking the hippies made sure of that. But
Hmm.
you don't need that. You don't need that extremism to be re-brought back. You need to make sure your people understand that this fight isn't just about winning; it's about making sure that you are forever a better place. Was known as the cradle of civilization. It was, and now look at
Hmm.
it. It's the cradle of where you drop your rubbish. Who needs to recycle?
Uh,
Just mail it to Iran.
hmm?
Seriously.
the
I'll send them bottles of empty water.
well, the fact that the people are actually like rising up against their government gives me hope, but also it makes me think, hey, did the West's secret organizations have anything to do with this by any chance?
You do wonder. But at least if that is the case, at least this time it's not us looking for oil. Because that didn't help
That's what we
Iraq.
said.
Hasn't helped Iraq, has it now? And Iraq's always been,
No.
and to be fair, no offense to Iraq, I've never known you as anything but shit as well. Sorry, but
Iraq used to be better, but honestly, well, I guess depends on what you mean by better. Dictator Saddam Hussein was still a terrible person. However, the country overall was a lot more Western,
yeah.
um, similar to Egypt, but without necessarily the dictator. They did have a president at one point. I think they have a president now too, of Egypt. I think I don't remember. Um, but yeah, I am not a fan of what we are currently looking at in our near futures for um, the things that are going on in the current state of things.
Mm-hmm.
I want there to be so much better, so many better options. Alas, I will not get them.
Sadness. I would like to, with what we saw and how quick it was for El Salvador to change, I could believe it is possible for other countries. I cannot see it happening in the Middle East because that is far too ingrained a problem. And to root it out, everyone has to actually work together for a change. It
Yeah.
should just be about, oh, we're thirsty. No, it needs to be about, okay, you're not doing what you're meant. You're not helping us. You're hurting us. The fact they're waking up because they're thirsty is horrible.
I mean, it's a horrible but a
Yeah,
good
yeah, it's a good thing, but
thing.
it's not that it took that for them to wake up. It's not. But I do hope they get what they need water-wise. And the world, if the world can help, obviously that's great. There are many countries in the Middle East that could help. In fact, I hope they are able to, but it shouldn't be
Mm.
helping some military dictator regime. It should never be that. No country that uses the military to suppress the people can be supported. Um, and I hope the people get the freedom they deserve. To be honest, um,
Do you think that there's actually like a good possibility that we can actually change that?
I don't know if we can. I know that your president has issued a warning, though. He said that the US will intervene. In fact, his exact quote, "We are locked and loaded and ready to go." He posted on Truth Social by saying, if Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the US will come to their rescue. I honestly could believe he'll land boots on the floor and start raining fire.
No, I don't think we never put boots on the floor anymore.
If he sees an opportunity to make some change here, beyond landing a few bombs in strategic places, I could see it happening. Because don't forget, here in June, you guys had some strikes against their nuclear sites. Iran, as a consequence, launched missiles at you in Qatar. Like, they're not afraid to
They
show
did.
that, not afraid to aim back, but you've got to take those out first.
What's funny is that yes, they did have that threat on us,
Yeah.
and we just did not give a fuck.
As long as you don't withdraw like you do in Afghanistan, you'll be fine.
Fair.
Gotta love Sleepy Joe.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, Sleepy Joe at his finest. Only the best.
Indeed.
I think people do believe if you did intervene in a military sense, it would harm US interests. I don't agree with that. I think there's a bigger picture about when people think it destabilizes the region. It's not about destabilizing the region. It's about holding people who are willingly harming people accountable. If it destabilizes a region, that tells you everything about that region in the first place. Grow the fuck up. How about that? Um, Alexandra, what is this conversation? The deep understanding one needs of the history of a country to navigate political conversations. Um, I don't know.
But well, I guess what do you want it to be?
Yeah. For us, I would rather countries are free of anyone who tries to rule them with a gun,
Yeah,
and by
like
using a shield of faith, a bastardized interpretation, by the way, um, bastardized version of it to control. And I don't like that.
uh,
When and people hate Trump, but when he had the opportunity to talk with Kim Jong Un, there was a chance there for something with North and South Korea. There was a chance,
uh-huh.
and it was wasted by everyone else afterwards. It was a
Hmm.
massively wasted opportunity. Um, and this is another opportunity to try and do something else. Yanuka says on Kick, pre-October 7th, Netanyahu offered to provide water desalination technology in exchange for peace, and Iran refused. That doesn't surprise me. Um,
I guess to the person who was asking about the deep history, how much history do I
Alexandra.
need to know? How much deep history do I have to know when a person says no to the life saving care of their people?
That's the thing. I think the counter is also that people don't even know about the knowledge of their own countries. That's also a problem in regions like Iran and actually, I'd argue Somalia as well from earlier, where you're
But the
not.
nuance, Meg.
Well, it's not that you're not taught to know your own country's history, or then that's where history is important. Because if you don't know it, your own culture, then you are susceptible to the more extremist versions of life. Because you go into life believing perhaps your faith should be number one, and that means the whatever interpretation of it is your rule of law, as opposed to a country with rule and law that isn't dictated by faith, that doesn't keep up with the people. That's not to say that the faith is wrong. It's just that there are people who interpret things so extremely they don't consider the people as people. They consider them chattel, which has led Iran to the position it's in now, because it's now others in charge who are not interested in helping. They're only interested in controlling. And by controlling, they've seized what matters the most to the people, and now they are being beaten for it. There are
And
people.
enriching themselves in the process.
Yeah, and it's interesting right now because the protesters have several days now. They've gotten more people involved. It's getting bigger, and it's leading to an opportunity at change. And I want to have some faith that this will accomplish something. I can see it being silenced because means of production and control and weapons and all that do usually play a part in silence. But if you shoot the people who protest, the world will see. Now, granted, in my country, barely any coverage of it has been seen at all, because there really isn't much. I've literally looked. I cannot find much in the UK at all on it. That's why I've gone to Twitter, because that's where most people actually bother to post this. And that's important. It
Mhm.
needs to be seen by as many people as possible. It really does.
I hate that I have
Because
to go to Twitter for it, though.
I do too. I really do. Because the amount of people I am seeing being people who have been harmed, people who have been killed, protesters who are peacefully protesting, I might add, it's increasing. It's just a shame that no one else wants to cover this. And this is where accusations have been levied at the likes of Oprah, the likes, because of their virtue signaling, the likes of Greta Thunberg as well, who has been, I think, if I go to her Twitter quickly, I'm pretty sure she hasn't said anything about it yet. Greta Thunderpants, where are you? She hasn't posted anything on Twitter since February of 2025. Yet she is somebody that's been
Mm.
protesting against Israel because she's anti-Zionist. She's been protesting in favor of Islam, the more extremist groups like Hamas, of course, and refugee camps. She protested in England about the Palestine Action idiots, even though that's a
Mm.
designated terrorist group. Um, she's on the wrong side of history now. She is basically no longer a climate activist. She is now a glorified crisis actor, basically, who has to brag about being autistic. No offense to Greta Thunberg intended, but I couldn't care less you're autistic. I care that you don't care about people's lives. You do, however, care about being anti Semitic, and you care about propping up groups that willingly want to wipe other people off the face of the earth. So her
Mhm.
silence on this is selective and comes from a place of she clearly doesn't care. It proves the point she doesn't care. But then I
Mhm.
don't expect her to care, because it doesn't suit her narrative, which is interesting. It's the same with all of them, really. So many of them are silent right now, and I don't get it. And I would have thought someone like Hassan, when it comes to Iran, he'd have an opinion on this that would be interesting, right? So if I go to Hassan's Twitter quickly, Hassan the Hun, I go to his Twitter and I just quickly pull up recent tweets from him. He is mostly talking about Asmon Gold, Israel, a vassal state. Yeah, Mamdani obviously being sworn in because he's scrapped the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism and lifted restrictions on boycotting Israel because but that's that. He hasn't spoken on this really at all. He's spoken a bit about Minnesota, and yeah, as you said, he's mostly only interested in that
Kids,
the poisoning the
weirdly
well
enough.
thing. What, I can't be asked with it. It's poisoning the well, man. It's so dark.
Yeah, no, it's just weird that it's always kids, right?
Yeah, I just find it frustrating that the people who had the voices to speak on this issue and actually call out this and be open about what is a problem and help, maybe even suggest ways to help the people who have a right to be heard. He's afraid of them. He's afraid of helping them because it would make him look good for a change, as opposed to what he would rather promote, and that is the more extremist crap that hurts people. And of course, Trump hate, because why do anything else? Yeah. Why do anything when you can call someone a nonce instead? Am I right, folks? Yeah.
That's right. Because that's what we see on a daily basis.
Yeah. Is there anything else going on in the US? Because we've got a few minutes left. Not many minutes, but we've got a
I'm
couple minutes left.
sure.
Anything in the US that you'd like to talk
Yeah.
about?
I mean, so right now the biggest thing that people are currently discussing has been the ongoing issues with the healthcare changes. So, long story short, and I mean long story short, this will be sans a lot of like nuanced details for those out there who are looking to nitpick. Um, Healthcare premiums are changing for some people. I think with an average increase of about 7%. Because subsidies that otherwise were being paid through Obamacare subsidies are now at this point lapsing.
Okay.
And so it's returning to how it worked prior to Obamacare, which is something that you were able to pay through a health savings account. Otherwise, after Obamacare, you were unable to do that. The long story, insurance, BS short, people's insurance premiums are going up. And so people are very upset about that. Unfortunately, the conversation deserves a lot more nuance because the specifics on like how it happens, where it goes, what individuals can do to help alleviate the problem, and who is actually going to be affected by the problem, these are all very, very specific. However, it's a talking point for Democrats right now, and they are all complaining because Republicans had said no to the expansion of those subsidies.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because Obamacare generally was not good law for a lot of people. You actually ended up paying a lot more over time because of Obamacare, simply because of just how much other shit. Well, when you introduce a healthcare plan that's being helped by the government that doesn't have a longevity or a history as big as like Medicaid or Medicare, you're going to have to drum up prices. When I tried to enroll my wife prior to us being married in government healthcare, I was expected to pay like some $300 a month.
Right.
That's crazy.
It does sound a bit on the steep side. But
that is wild.
Again, I have NHS though, so I don't actually know if it is. So I have to wait for you to tell me.
Yes.
I'm very
sorry.
sorry.
Oh, yes. Then the COVID expansion as well. So yes, because
the dentist
COVID expansions also were expanded for
the
that
dentist
healthcare
stuff
thing.
was quite expensive as well, wasn't it?
Like,
that's ridiculous.
Dental is a fucking steal. I'm in the wrong business. I swear to God.
Either that or be a
I
plumber.
should be a dentist. That shit's amazing.
It is, and the best part is you get to knowingly, willingly, accidentally hurt people. Mamdani says they'll get rid of individualism. I wish him the best of luck, but his predecessor, who was betrayed by his own party, though he was himself a rat when it came to Trump, he predecessor failed to build a couple 100,000 homes during his time in office, and Mamdani wants to build those and build a couple 100,000 more. He's not going to do it. Don't try me. It's not likely to happen, but I wish him the best of luck in trying. Um, we are at the end of
Yay.
this stream with our 1 hour mark, and I need to get some sleep. So I'll be here next week, Trups. What is this? Is it the 9th next week?
It is.
My dad might be here, but if you're here, then I'll be here.
Yeah, just let me know if things change. Otherwise, yeah, I'll be
Well,
here.
no, I think it's because my nephew has an appointment on that day, so I don't know if he's here staying the night or not.
Hit me up
I'll let you
as we
know.
get
Yeah, I'll
closer.
let you know. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on YouTube. All 14 of you there. 14 of you on Rumble, 4 of you on Twitch, and 1 of you on Kick. Yanuka, yes, I know you're still there. Thank you for the bits and the super chats. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you all in a week. So say goodnight, Trups.
Good night, Trumps.